And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. It's I, John D, a.k.a. Too Much, and my wife.
Kanika do.
Kanika do what?
Everything well. Does everything well.
Hey, welcome back. I wanted to ask you, I know I asked you earlier, but it wasn't on here. What is something that you wish you could have erased that you think could have put you in a different place in life? Not away from your family, of course.
Oh. You know, all of the things that I think about erasing are always really, really early on in the game.
So like what?
There were certain relationships that I had, friendships and otherwise, that I felt started when I was in middle school. It kind of just started taking a different type of shape, and I feel like that put me in a different place. But at the same time, I think that I feel like if I would have veered away from it, because it looked bad just off top. It looked like an after school special, some of the stuff that I was getting myself into. And I think that if I had made the decision I knew I should have made, it would have sent me on a different trajectory. When in my adult years, like if I were to think of what would not have resulted in me being married to somebody else or having different kids, I don't really know. I don't think that there was any particular decision that I could think of that I would have changed. Maybe, yeah, there is. Maybe how I interacted with you. I know that I should have been more, not demanding, but I should have been more clear about expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And if those expectations weren't met, I should have just been like,
Peace.
yeah. Like, and it's because I feel like there was a lot that I expected of you that I did not explicitly state, because I felt like you should just know it, which led to unfair critique and grading from me to you. But there were also things that I felt were basic needs for me. And if I were being fair to myself, when I wasn't getting the things that I needed, I should have been gone.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I know that later on, I was concerned about the optics. What does it look like to my daughter? Because I need my daughter to not, there are things that I don't like about myself. I never want Day to reflect.
Yeah.
And so, and there are things about myself that I never want my son to seek out. Dallas has a very close relationship with me, and I don't know what kind of woman he'll look for. But, you know, generally people look for someone. If they have a good relationship with their parent, they look for their parent. If they have a bad relationship with their parent, they still look for their, yeah. And so how I live my life is a blueprint that they can look at and make decisions about. And if you think your mom can do no wrong, you think that she made the right choices.
Yeah.
And then you feel more comfortable following them. Even if, you know, you never really have the conversation and realize that your parent really regretted those, you know, decisions. You think that they made the right ones because, like, my mom could do no wrong, as far as I'm concerned, to this day. But when I talked to her, so many of her decisions, her reflection on the things she wished she hadn't done, what she got from it, that was far more valuable for me to be able to reflect on and follow in her footsteps. Following her footsteps based on her lesson, not based on what I saw. And a lot of with our kids, because they're just now teens, when they were younger, all they knew was what they saw. They didn't know how to interpret it because they weren't adults, and I wasn't going to explain it to them because they weren't adults. Mm-hmm. But definitely I felt like a lot of my decisions impacted how they see the world, how they see their partner, how they see their role. And there were a lot of poor lessons
Absolutely.
I provided. So I think that that would be it. I think that I would have been more of an advocate for myself.
How did you get that information? How would you have gotten that information without going through the lessons?
You know, I don't know. I think that part of it is just being hard-headed, because it wasn't like no one was telling me what I was doing. There were people who were calling out my behavior. They're like, Kanika, do you recognize that you're doing this? But do you recognize you're doing that? And I could even look them in the eye and say, yeah. But I still wasn't doing anything to stop it. And I think that me being hard-headed and feeling like at the foundation, this is what I wanted it to be. So all this other stuff, if I can endure it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not
That's
not a lesson that I want to pass on to them.
I hate that. Well, you were gonna pass on a different lesson anyway.
Yeah. But I would have wanted there's a gray area of what resilient looks like. Like, are you resilient in the sense that you're able to endurance. It's like, do you endure this life, or are you resilient and you make it through and you come out better than before? Like, and I felt like I was skating the line between just enduring something and that being my story versus being resilient. And I think even with Melissa, I used to talk to her a lot. We had a really good friend, Melissa, and she used to reflect on our relationship with me often. And one of the words she had used was endure. And now, at my big age, I can see the difference for me in what endure meant versus being resilient. And I don't want that. I want to be seen as someone that's resilient and rises and comes up out of something and is better. I don't want to be somebody that just endures. Mm-hmm. Because to me, it feels like you don't have to rise out of it. You don't have to grow. You're just strong enough to uphold the pressure.
So when I hear resilient and endure, when I think of resilience, there was a goal. But if you don't have a goal, you're just enduring whatever. Like, what is the point of going through anything if you don't have a goal that you're working toward to get out of that?
Yeah, so I think of it as like, if somebody put the world on your shoulders, endurance is just you being able to withstand that pressure and hold it. Resilience is finding your way to get out of that.
Yeah, and still situation. Be able to do it, and still be able to do things with.
I'm not just gonna sit here and just be holding this shit. It's like you're able to get out from under it and move forward. You know, endurance, it just makes me feel like, yeah, you know, it's also that idea of when they say Black women are strong. I hate that, because we are strong, but it's not because we want to be. We want to be soft and feminine and taken care of and what have you. But, you know, situations have made it as such that we have to be able to endure a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, people see it as the same thing. And true enough, it can be seen as synonymous for some. But for me, resilience seems more like you were able to handle it, but you were also able to, like, come out better and win something. With endurance, I just kind of feel like you're just there holding the bag.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to be that one. You know what I'm saying? So,
are you holding any bags now?
Yeah, I am. I'm holding some bags. There are some things that I have not been able to let go of. And I'm just, the pressure is still there. but if I started off in this with 15 things I was holding, I'm not holding all 15 anymore. So there are some things that I have been able to come up from under it, and I've persevered and I've elevated. But I'm still dragging some boulders with me. Still got a few things on my shoulders, a few things on my back, a few things tied on my ankles. And part of it is just being able to acknowledge it, like, and put it on your list of things to do. I can see it. I know what it is. I may not have the plan just yet of how to rid myself of it, but there are still some things that I'm enduring.
Is it by choice?
I don't know.
Because I'm just trying to figure out what's the motivation of doing it.
I think if it's something that you don't have a plan for, or you can't see the solution, it's not a choice. If I can see the solution and know what I need to do, then it is. And right now, I think that, you got to prioritize. And so there are certain things that I can see the solution and I need to take those steps. But there are other things that I just can't see my way out of. And I also think that it's kind of like graduated difficulty. Like, if I can figure this part out, it's going to give me keys to figure that part out. And then so on and so forth. So, I'm not at a point where I feel like I'm not going to make it, or that I'm going to have to endure these things for forever. But I do recognize that there are some things that are going to be lingering around a little bit longer than others because their solution is more complicated. And that's okay.
I got you. So let me get this. What you would erase, if you could, is the presentation you gave to the kids during the beginning of our marriage.
Yeah, definitely. And that might have put the nail in the coffin for you and I.
I'm sure it would have. No, I don't know. I can't say that. I can't. I think I'll say this. The person that I wanted to be better.
No, I understand.
So I'm saying, like, the nail in the coffin, that meant that I wasn't willing to change. Yeah. I believe that I would have been willing to change because I was not, and I can tell you in my head, I felt like I wanted to get better.
Well, and that might have been your intention, but that wasn't who I was experiencing.
Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, I get it. I'm just saying that if you say the nail in the coffin, if you gave a different presentation, I'm trying to figure out why you're presenting this way. So I'm going to be like, what am I doing? And I felt like you would have gave me some information for me to change my behaviors.
I think at the time you were very much so, you were very argumentative.
Oh, I know. Yes.
And you were someone that had to be right.
All the time.
And I think that if I would have said, I don't like this, or I need that, or I was always going to run the risk of you doubling down on how you were right.
Not disagreeing.
And so if I were to really, truly be myself, like I say often, like, I don't care. I don't care about people's feelings like that. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. But if I would have really addressed you in that way where it was like, oh, okay, you don't want to do it, then I'm good. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know if you would have been like, I need to fight for her.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I needed to know how. I didn't see, this is the thing. I think, like, when I hear, would you fight for her? Like, what does that look like? And I'll say that.
Couldn't even tell you.
Well, I know what it looks like now.
Okay.
Because I felt like I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years. Like, I specifically said, even in the darkest moments, I said to you that you got to do what you got to do, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And I said, at some point, it's going to make sense. And I felt like I had to go through an experience to know that I wasn't doing enough in this relationship.
But that came more than a decade later.
I told you that I was 10 years before.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying to you is at the time when I could look at it and see that was something that I should do, I recognized that it meant that this family could be done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
So,
well,
I was making the decision for the family, but what I feel like, what I learned from my mom is that making the decision, you think you're making a decision so that the family is better, but the truth is that kids are better with happy parents. And if parents are not happy together, it's often traumatic for the kids to experience those two people, whether it's and I don't ever want people to think that trauma always has to be like it's ripping somebody apart or it throws them off the rails. It's like, just like you can have microaggressions, I feel like you can have micro traumatic instances, different things that as they pile up over time, they create a message and it becomes a pattern of behavior that someone exhibits. And so, you know, as an example, when we used to have arguments, and a lot of the times, like I said, you were very argumentative, and it used to get to the point where you weren't going to back down. And so what was best for me was, rather than continue and let it escalate or let the kids see or hear anything that might not have been great, I'm just going to stop talking. And then later on, we would go to the room at the end of the night or whatever, and I'd say, John, you know, I really didn't like X, Y, and Z. And then we work through it. And the next day, you and I are fine. The problem is that I was worried that the kids were seeing me back down.
Yeah, you're right.
And they thought that was, yeah. And so they were consistently getting the message.
A different message.
If their dad was, or if someone is adamant enough or aggressive enough to say, no, this is what it's going to be, then somebody has to back down. And in most cases, it was going to be the mom or the woman or whoever the case may be. And then in the end, everything is better the next day without any more talk, there's no resolution. She never gets heard, blah, blah, blah. And that was, I felt like, multiple instances in which they saw that it becomes an event that's going to impact how they interact with people later on. And I never wanted them to feel that. They didn't know that there was a conversation that was had between two adults.
I know, but we changed that. We changed that.
We did. But what I'm saying to you is I believe that there are small moments that build up to create a behavior that people continue in their own relationships. And that was something that was a trauma that I see, because what it teaches a young woman may be that you have to back down. What it teaches a young man is you just have to get louder. And none of that stuff is good. None of that is, you know what I'm saying? So the problem was they never saw that, you know, we actually came back together and we spoke with gentle voices and we were more thoughtful in listening to one another, and then we resolved it later. It wasn't just that, oh, we slept on it and the next day it was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But like just listening to you, I think that maybe people don't understand that, like I know that you said that happy parents are better than. I kind of look at it a little different, because I felt like if they didn't see how I relate, they're gonna be able to reflect at some point on like when you were, where you were, and where we were, and when things changed. I know that. So I'm saying like they will have an example of what a successful relationship looks like. Now you can describe it for whatever it was, but at the end of the day, I don't believe anybody gets in a relationship to get in a place of happiness amongst each other.
But I also feel like I told you before, if you feel like you're in a relationship and the relationship has to have struggle, then you feel like this is normal. Like,
see, I don't know who thinks like that. When you say that, I just was like, is that how she thinks? Because to me, I felt like you made it seem like that was a regular way to think at it.
But you have to think, I said that I gathered that information from what I saw, because adults don't sit there and talk to kids about how to manage relationships.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of the times, you know, kids are moving into life and they learn how to interact with people based on what they've heard their parents say, what they've watched, what they've seen in other family members. And that was the logic that I gathered out of what I experienced. Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing.
Yes. And so what I'm saying to you also is that, you know, if we don't have these conversations, like there's a lot of stuff that when at my age now, I've talked to my mom about different parts of her marriage, and she says stuff to me and I'm like, I would have never guessed that. This is how I saw it. And then she was like, no, that wasn't it. And so sometimes the kids don't know to check back and get some understanding. You know, Mom, when I used to see this, can you, and the parent is living, life is life in. So the parent don't have time or even think about I should go back and ask them how they felt about this or what they think about this. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times there are a lot of lessons that are being learned just by observation and not by actual discussion. And it doesn't serve our kids because we may have learned a lesson and became better, but that's what they learned.
I know.
And so in a person's relationship, unlike ours, which recently took a very dramatic turn in how we interact with one another, there are relationships that remain as they started until the very end of time.
Yes.
And so in those instances, how much growth can that kid get if the parent themselves have not acknowledged or even recognized that there needs
that's going to be their ceiling.
Yes. And so that's, that was basically what I was saying about that. But even when you say, I didn't know anybody who looked at anything like that, but you don't know anyone who uniquely had my path. And I think everybody's unique path gives them lessons that they don't always even process as having. It's just something they do, and it's like a program running in the background.
I got you. I didn't, I guess looking at the way that you said, like your kids typically look for the person that you are, and whether you did a good job or not.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I was just like, I used to always feel like if Day was going to, like, I looked at life in a particular way, and I was like, I always felt like, okay, I wouldn't mind Day dealing with me. And then it was like to the point where it was like, there's no way I would want Day to deal with me. Mm-hmm. Like just thinking as a man, as a father, like, and I was like, how do I get to the line where, like now I feel like if Day found anything remotely close to me, this guy is great. Because I feel like I want to be a great husband and I want to be a great father, and I say that so much where I feel like if I died today, I need them to know that, look, he was striving to be a great father and a great husband. So in my mind, Day would be able to recognize somebody who wants to be something versus somebody who's just running their mouth. And that's what I was. I was like I was always good with communication, but it was like I was just leading this false hope. And I'm telling you, like when I reflect on the things that you've went through, it hurts in a different way that I can't explain to you. Like I have to, like, and I know that you know that I'm a better person now, but I know that you had to actually have those feelings. But I have to, like, every time think about, like, you made her feel this way. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where it's a constant reminder that, hey, you have so much work to do. And that's the reason why I'm so, like, I be so geeked up about becoming better, because I'm like, at some point, I feel like you'll be like, dang, like he really turned that shit around. And I feel like Dallas is going to be able to know what it looks like. Like before, Dallas was just going to learn my behaviors as his ceiling. Now I feel like his ceiling can go anywhere he wants it to go, at least to my knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But I guess if, like I told you before, if I could erase anything that I felt like would not affect you, would probably be the time where whenever I cheated at something and it made sense that I was supposed to do that periodically through my life. I felt like if I would have, like, learned the lesson, I would have made better decisions. Like if I'm just like, hey, this is the reason why you shouldn't do this. And you're going to see this again and you're going to be compromised sometimes. But if you make this decision, it's going to be very difficult to recognize, like, that it's just bad. And I remember feeling like, you know, people like, when I found that money and somebody was like, that's your blessing.
It's your blessing. No, it's someone's rent money.
No, this was $6,000.
Yeah.
Well, no rent.
It was more than
rent. That was somebody's tuition, his son's tuition.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like, and I just was thinking about, like, those was one of the times where I look back and I was like, I actually sought counsel. I kind of knew what I was going to do, but I really did. I was like thinking I could get rid of these bills. And I was just thinking, even when I look back, I was on a better road, but I would have still found a way to not do as much as I could have. And then I thought about how that person felt to find the money versus the way I felt. He's like, he feels way better than I do. Like I was like trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? Like it wasn't happiness.
Well, he definitely had another what am I supposed to do moment.
Yeah.
While you was over here trying to figure out what bills you could pay.
Yeah. And I just thought like it made me feel like I made the right, like I can always look. There's nothing in my life that's going to make me feel like taking the money was going to be a better decision.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I like reflect, I want to be somebody who's like once he did that, he didn't make any more of them decisions that average people make anymore. He was really thought out. Like I want to be that person where he was like, did he really think about this? Yes. Backward and forward, because to me when I look back at some of the things that I've done, I was just like, it was just completely ignorance, just lack of respect for anything outside of me. I was very selfish. And I was selfish because of the way that I grew up. I just figured that that's what it was about. Dog eat dog world. And even in my dog eat dog world, I was still trying to help people in the best way I could. I really was. It was just certain things I felt like, this is the part of the game and I choose to win this way. And that was definitely different, just thinking about something that you could remove and thinking about the type of person. Like I would have been a solid dude.
Yeah.
A really solid stand-up guy.
You would have. We wouldn't have met though.
Why wouldn't we?
Because somebody else, you were definitely involved with enough women.
But I wouldn't have been that person anymore because I would have
I know, but I feel like there's something around there that somebody would have caught you. If you were this stand-up guy.
You don't think
in
that
addition to your personality. And
so how did you catch me then?
Through the back door.
No, you didn't. You did not. Look, check this out. First of all, I'm going to tell you how good of a guy that I am. A mutual friend of ours brought some girls we never met over to some guy's apartment.
It was your apartment.
I know. It wasn't his.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like he brought girls that we didn't meet. He thought we were good guys.
Oh, that was what that was. Okay.
No. I just thought about this recently. I was like, dang, he really thought highly of us because he didn't just take them over anybody's house. He brought them over our house. And I felt like he knew something, he was like, because there could have been some other people he took him over. It was like, it probably won't be as fun. And just think it just changed the trajectory of both of our lives. And I can say that I'm blessed that he did that. But, making better decisions, like it just seemed like I would have like figured you out quicker. And then we would have like skipped a lot of the BS.
No, because I think I remember when we first met, I figured out that there was another girl that I had met that really liked you. And I was like, oh, I'm not messing with him because I really liked her. And I didn't want, you and I didn't have anything. So I was like, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm just going to be cool with her. She had this dude. It's just a guy. And you continued to, like when you would see me, it was still conversation. You're very charismatic. Like it was easy to talk to you. And then the continued conversations. And then I was like, I like him. But initially I told you that. I said, because such and such, so I'm not messing with you.
But I'm saying,
and I think that you being this stand-up guy, you wouldn't have pursued it.
Maybe I would. No, I'm saying maybe I wouldn't have been messing with this young lady at all. And I was just waiting for you to appear.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think when I say that I'm trying to become a better person, it just doesn't mean that I'm just like somehow not meet you.
Well, what about the other ones though?
No, because my intent was different.
No,
I'm saying as far if you look at my decision making, my intent was different with women. And with you, it was all about you being smart.
And mind you all, we were in college. So we were young.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, we were definitely in college.
It made sense to be.
I was about to grad. I met her the semester before I graduated.
Yeah. But it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't see me being a better person not meeting you. Like I think that I would have probably been a little more arrogant. Like, look, I'm a really good guy.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. This dude was super arrogant anyway. He get on the phone with you and then he would tell you about how he just doesn't understand why you're not paying attention to him because he is John D. I don't understand how you're not paying attention. I don't understand how you're not trying to call right now because. And I was like, this dude is. Well,
I think it's kind of it kind of means like check this out. If you think about it, doesn't it seem like I knew what I was talking about? Like I knew it was a long road, but I'm saying like, who's not going? The road could be even longer though.
I just need you to endure.
No, I think it was. Well, you didn't have this plan for me to become this way, so you did endure. Yeah. But I tell you this, depending on who says the story, it could look resilient. Like she was waiting for him to blossom, and didn't he? He became this guy that wants to be the best husband. And like he says it to everybody so everybody can keep him accountable. Like what kind of responsibility is that? That just shows.
That's what you tell people. So
I say I'm going to be the best husband and the best father. And guess what? If people say, hey, have you done this? Nope. And guess what? I guess I got to learn how to do it. Because at the end of the day, if I add all of these tools to my belt, my family's got to be happy. That's what I want. My goal is for my family to say, I'm blessed to have this man to find whatever he found to get here because he has made life happier and more fun, maybe. It will soon fun, maybe. I know that like it's been
a lot of work.
Look, I know that I wasn't fun before.
Oh my God.
But I'm working on that.
Yeah.
So you so crazy. Anyway, anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No, I'm good for today.
No doubt. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. This is another moment where my wife and I really try to share moments of growth and how we view things and how we feel like people should probably have these conversations in their house. And I'll tell you the reason why I feel that way before I let you go. I believe that parents and kids aren't having conversations that are beneficial to the growth of their house. It's like our kids are definitely disappeared into another room, but at some point we're gonna get together and we're gonna have a conversation and talk about the day. And I feel like before it was like more of a chore, and now I feel like the kids enjoy being around us a lot more, and they're at the age where those questions are gonna start being different. They're teenagers. And I want them to always feel like that we're going to give them the best answers so that they can be successful. Not don't do this because this will happen. Well, don't do that because so many other things will prevent you from getting to whatever you want. And we want to make sure that they don't get these environmental traps because they're everywhere. And I'm an example of thinking that environmental traps are just supposed to remain in your life. And I had to realize that I didn't ask for those habits, but I found a way to get rid of them, and I feel like my family's benefited. And that's the reason why I love my wife and our journey, because we can show you guys there's a different way to grow as a relationship. But y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you cannot control. GATA, get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.